And here we go, Keith's cabin. Perfect, just the way I left it. You can see it has a nice refrigerator, swamp cooler for the summertime. Just a single bed, nice lazy boy, extremely comfortable. And a full bathroom. With an on-demand hot water heater, which means we have hot showers. Full tub, ready to go. So we're gonna water all the fruit trees on the property. We have 4 pretty good sized orchards, apples, peaches, pears, stuff like that. There's 7 natural springs on this property. Artesian springs bubble up out of the ground, and we store the water in some big holding ponds that Corey's dug out. I call this the frog pond. It's filled with huge bullfrogs. And the valve for it is right there. Got a good sized bull out here, a couple Shetland ponies, a lamb, a paca, that's a paca, a goat, and a pig. And they get to run free on about an acre, I guess. This here is a really nice swim pond up here at Aravada Springs. As you can see, it's just about to overflow, lined with blackberries and a huge water slide. This is also a holding pond for the orchard just down the hill, so we're going to open the valve and flood that field. So that'll provide water for this orchard behind the tents. This old growth orchard, these trees are pushing 100 years old, pears. And then we have another orchard on the other side of that fig tree out in the distance that it supplies water to. So this is the valve pretty much at the end of the line of the frog pond. And that helps get all the pollywogs out of the piping. I drain it out, get all the pollywogs out of the piping before I send it through the irrigation lines of the orchard that's just up the hill. A couple compost piles I'm working on from all the leaves I gathered up last year. And you can see one of the pollywogs right here. So this here is a baby orchard. I think Corey planted this about 5-6 years ago. Baby apple trees and plum trees and peach trees. And just gonna put some water on them. They're all on a drip line type of system. Okay, they all seem to have some pretty good flow. All the basins are filling up with water. But I did notice we have a leak, so I'll go check that out. So this here is the horse pond. There's three horses up here, and this is their water pond. So I'm gonna go turn the valve on to fill that. And that is right here. This is the original water source for Aravada Springs. It's an old milk tank that we drug up here. Corey drug up here. And this is one of the springs I was talking about that bubble up out of the ground. We just stored it in this tank. However, this is no longer used. We tapped into another spring down the road, and it's certified for culinary water. We had to go through a whole host of regulatory stuff to get that to work. We pump it up the hill 100 feet. Just up on this mountain. And then it comes back down at 85 psi and supplies the entire ranch with high quality pressured water. Which is real nice. Before we had the storage tanks up on the mountain, it's kind of hard to get water pressure out of a artesian well. So we had RV pumps in all the cabins, and every time they'd come on, they'd make a bunch of racket and noise, and it was a pain in the butt. And it's tough to take a shower, but now that we got, I think we have 4,000 gallons of water tanks up on the mountain, and that supplies the ranch with 85 psi of water pressure and allows us to use those on-demand hot water heaters, and in turn gives you a nice hot shower. You can't beat that. So we'll keep an eye on this pond. Don't want it overflowing. Top it off for the horses. And it looks like the deer got a hold of this tree a little bit. Actually probably running their horns on it. It's that time of year. Strip it of its bark, and whatever water's extra just goes into this pond down here. That's a swim pond, which we in turn use the water to water the orchards that we're watering now, and just bubbles up all over the ground. You can see right down here there's water just coming out of the ground. No shortage of water up here. You just have to contain it and use it. So this is a spring that we get the culinary water out of. Like I said, this is one of 7 springs that we know of that are on the property. In order to get a culinary certification for your water, it takes a whole slew of regulations you got to jump through, hoops you got to jump through with the government. And that's what we've been in the process of doing over the last couple months. Basically, this large pipe casing, we got an excavator up here and dug down probably 20-30 feet down through all this rock to get to the source of the spring, and put this casing in there, surrounded by gravel for a containment area down there. And there's a pump in here, and then the water gets pumped up the mountain, like I said earlier, about 100 feet up the mountain. And this is the second oldest orchard out here. This orchard is about 10 or 12 years old, I'm thinking. Got a variety of different fruit. These trees provide copious amounts of fruit. Corey does a lot of canning, jarring, preserving. We got a dehydrator machine. Just look at the apples on this tree here. All organic. Beautiful red. The deer would just love to get a hold of these. Really good. Just look at the size of this fig tree. You'll just never go hungry out here. There's always something that's ready to pick and eat. I think this fig tree is probably at least 50 years old. Delicious figs. And all the fruit trees. Corey's really big on planting trees, especially trees that actually provide something. I'm gonna have to go get another apple. That thing is delicious. Got some green apples here. And these are more of a red variety, and they are just delicious. Oh well. Not the one I was picking, but it'll do. As you can see, we have a lot of deer. They're pretty friendly because we feed them apples. He's hoping I'll throw him a couple apples or pears off one of these trees. When the sun goes down out here, it gets downright nippy. It's time to get a jacket on, some gloves, and go down and count some deer. I don't know if I have enough light to show that process, but we'll see. So this is a big field we planted a few weeks ago.
September 1st.
September 1st. It's called Three-Way. And Corey has counted 63 deer.
Well, there's another 5 just came in to 68.
So we're pushing 70 deer down there in that field.
Let me see your bumper.
So look at that moon. See if I can go down in the lower part of the ranch and get a better picture of it. Big, beautiful full moon.